My
Got it.
target is to make my first 1 crore before the age of 35. You see people who
Correct.
are posting videos every day. Today I have made 15 lakhs
Yeah.
of profits here. So I was following such YouTubers and I started it directly from future and options.
What was the highest loss that you incurred?
Some 14,000 in a day. Initially, it was like I was entirely spending all my salary on credit card,
And what was the amount that you owed?
around 2.5 lakhs. I paid around 35% interest on those payments. To repay that, I took another loan and then I paid off the credit card bills in one go.
You managed to again turn it around, right? Which is possible because for a lot of people who are in the same position that you were, it can seem like that's a point of no return. But you are an example, Shubham, that you can rectify the errors. That will really again inspire a lot of people watching. So, how much money do you think you would need at the age of 58 to be able to live, say, for the next 30 years without working?
At least 50 crore, I think.
You'd require 23 crores, 23.7 crores. Hey, a very quick update. I'm hosting a personal finance masterclass on Sunday 15 September from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And in this masterclass, I'll be diving deep into how you can start investing as a complete beginner, then what factors you need to consider while selecting mutual funds, how to construct a portfolio, how to prepare for your long-term goals like even retirement. And while I do understand that is important, there are short-term goals as well, right? Like going for a vacation, buying a new phone. So how and where can you save for that as well? I'll also be sharing 8 proprietary personal finance calculators that I actually use while handling client money through mutual funds. And what also brings me the most amount of joy is that for every masterclass registration, I'll be donating a meal to 3 school-going kids in India. So let's together learn more about personal finance and also feed more children. And the link to register for it is in the description, or you can also scan this QR code. Hello everyone and welcome to another brand new episode of MoneyWise. And today I'm joined by Shubham. Thank you so much for being on the show, Shubham. Where are you from and what do you do?
Thank you so much, Udayan, for having me on this show. I'm from Chandigarh. Currently, I'm working with a large laptop manufacturing company. It's based in US.
Okay, great. And how old are you? And are you married?
Yes, I'm married and I'm currently 28 years old.
And in terms of your money life, in terms of personal finances, what is the biggest challenge that you're facing today that I can help you out with?
Biggest challenge would be like, firstly, I have taken a home loan. That is a new investment from my side. So, your advice I would need how to, clear that within a specific duration so that I wouldn't end up paying too much of interest on that. And moreover, how to invest wisely and how to plan retirement, not early in
Understood.
my case.
Sounds good. And in terms of you said you're married. So
Yes.
does your partner also work
Yes, she is also working in the same company as mine.
in the same company?
Yes.
Kya baat hai? And so what is the combined income that comes in every month for both of you together?
The CTC is like 1.5 lakhs a month.
Okay.
And after taxes, it's about 1.4. And on top of that, there is 10,000 rent that I receive every month from my parental home.
Okay. And the EMI that you're paying, is that for the same house that you're getting a rent from? Or is that a different house?
That's a different house. There is no loan or there is no EMI on that.
On that. Okay. Got it. Great. And the house where you're sitting right now, is that something that you're renting or is that the house that you're paying the EMI for?
Yes, so this is my recently purchased house, and it's currently I've taken a loan on this house for about 45 lakhs. The cost of this house is around 75. The rest was self-funded.
Got it. Superb. Superb. So that is fantastic because you funded about 42% as down payment, which reduced your EMI.
Yes.
Correct. So what is the EMI that goes out every month?
So on a loan of 45 lakhs, the approximate EMI that I'm paying is around 35,000. I've taken it for a period of 25 years.
And what is the interest rate on the home loan, Shubham?
Interest rate is 8.5%.
So amongst the lowest ones that you can get. So that's
Yes.
fantastic once again.
Mhm.
And so you mentioned that you ideally want to prepay the home loan to some extent so that you save out on interest. So
Right.
one aspect when it comes to prepaying your home loan is that home loans, usually across countries, including India, home loans are the cheapest way you can borrow money. And because of that, so if you want to borrow money elsewhere, right, whether it's at times for a car, at times a personal loan, a credit card loan, the interest just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. Whereas
Right.
for home loans, you are anyway borrowing money at a very low rate. Then at the same time, you save money if you're in the old tax regime through the interest that you pay. So up to 2 lakhs you can claim as interest payment, deduction.
Right.
And is it a joint home loan that you and your spouse have taken together?
Right. That is.
Yeah. So in that case, if it's a joint ownership, if it's a joint home loan, then both of you can claim 2 lakhs each in interest deduction for tax purposes on the old tax regime.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was
So
was also one of my questions. So you have already cleared
Correct.
that.
Yes. So think about it. Both of you, for income purposes, are going to pay 2 lakhs lower in terms of taxation. So let's say now you're in the 20% tax bracket, and now your income has gone down 2 lakhs each.
Right.
Because you have got this home loan interest deduction, then in that case you're saving 40,000 rupees each every
Right.
single year.
Yes.
Yeah. At the same time, you're borrowing money at a very low rate. So if the home loan is not causing sleepless nights, if it's not causing too much anxiety, I would invite you to think about, you're very young, you can keep paying the home loan for the next 25 years.
Okay.
So how much money are you investing, Shubham, every month?
So as of now, I am investing like 50,000 in monthly SIPs.
Super. And how long have you been investing this 50,000 for?
It's been like some 18-20 months.
18-20 months. Super. All right. Great. Apart from all of this, apart from the home loan, do you have any other loan as well that is going out right now?
Yes, there is one gold loan that I had taken a year back.
And what is the interest rate and the amount that you borrowed and the money that you pay roughly every month and year?
That is a 5 lakh rupees loan, and the interest rate would be 8.75 or something. And
Okay.
every month I pay around 32 to 3,300 of EMI on that.
Got it. And why did you take this gold loan, Shubham? What was
Actually,
the purpose?
yeah, there was some personal financial requirement at that time, so that's why I had taken it. But I'm going to get it paid very soon.
Got it. And so, Shubham, earlier you had shared all your expenses with me and how and where you're in, and how you're going about your investing journey. So, in terms of your total expenses, you're spending about 85,000 rupees per month. So, about 60,000 rupees get saved, and out of that 60,000, you're investing almost the entire amount.
Yes.
50,000 in monthly SIPs, and about 8,000 odd rupees in your EPF and PPF.
Right.
So now tell me, are you happy with your investment performance? How your SIPs are doing?
Yes, since the last year, market has been very kind, and I've almost accumulated like 25-30% return on my investment.
Got it.
My
Got
target is to make my first 1 crore in equity markets, before the age of 35 or so.
So do you want to see if you're on track to get there?
Yes, I really want to see that.
So currently you have 12 lakhs in equity instruments, correct, Shubham? In
Right.
mutual funds.
Right.
And you want to get to 1 crore. You have a 50,000 rupee SIP that is going on. So with this 12 lakhs invested, if it grows at say 12% and you have a 10% annual step up, let's say where you are in 5 years. So you're at 73 lakhs, right? So in your 6th year, you're at 95 lakhs, and in the 7th year, you're at 1.2 crores. So your goal of wanting to hit your first crore by the age of 35 is very much possible if you keep investing that 50,000 rupees, every single month with a 10% annual step up.
Okay.
And, just to give you an idea, if let's say this grows at 14%, so you get there in the 6th year.
Okay.
And if this grows by 10%, you are again getting there in the 7th year. So with a 10 to 14% return, you're getting there in 6-7 years by the time you're 34 and 35.
Okay.
And this 50,000 is entirely in your hands, right? And I'm not even considering the EPF money that you're investing. If you think about it, that 8,000 rupees, 1 lakh rupees per year roughly would be invested anyway, regardless, for 7 years. So that itself will be worth about 10-12 lakhs later in the future.
Okay.
So that is one thing, but I'm sure, Shubham, you have other goals in life as well, correct? Because if you want to invest this money, you want to also use this money for different items that are going to come up in life.
Right.
So what are the big goals that you currently want to fulfill with your personal life and money?
So the first big goal was buying a house. So that is already done. And the
Hmm.
next one is buying a new car.
Got it. And when do you want to buy it, and how much would it cost
Uh,
roughly?
within a period of 1 year, and it would
Okay.
cost around 12, 13 lakhs.
Yeah. And what are the other goals that you have, Shubham?
Apart from that, investing at least 10 lakh rupees in real estate markets
Okay. By when do you want to do that?
within the next 3, 4 years.
Got it. What else are the big goals? If you can run through the list, we can see how we can get there.
Mhm. And yeah, apart from that, opening a business for passive income, that is also one goal.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then have international vacation.
Okay. Got it. And how often would you want to go for that vacation?
Like once in a 2 year.
Got it. And Shubham, what is your family situation like? Do you live with your parents? Are they dependent on you for income? How does that work out? Or your
Uh,
in-laws even?
yes, so I live with my wife and mother. So my mother is
Okay.
she is retired personnel, so she
Mm-hmm.
is financially independent.
Got it. So we will go through these various expenses and goals in just a bit. So Shubham, you are 28 years old and you are investing now almost 40% of your money every single month. So can you tell me more about your journey? Because you're young and you're doing a lot of right things. You've kept your home loan EMI under 30%. You're investing a large part of your money. So can you tell me more about your journey, how you got here? Because I'm sure a lot of listeners, they would
Mhm.
want to also try to emulate what you're doing because there's clearly something right there. So if you can share that, I think it will be super helpful.
Yeah, definitely I would like to share. So yeah, so once I started working, so just like every guy, so once you get a credit card, so you see the limit that you have like one and a half a lakh limit in your credit card. So yeah, so initially it was like I was entirely spending all my salary on credit cards, almost like 70-80% of my salary that was going in credit cards only at that time, and even uh,
Okay.
yeah. Even I remember, like, I used to withdraw cash as well from the credit cards to meet my
Okay.
financial plans. Yeah, so I was doing
Got
stuff
it.
like that. I purchasing new mobile phone every year, and yeah,
Got it. And when you withdraw cash, there's a very high interest that you have to pay on that cash withdrawal from
right,
the
right,
credit
right.
card.
So at that time, I used to like pay the payments partially on the credit card. Like I
Okay.
always paid the minimum due. So like
Okay. Got
this went for almost a year. Then I actually one day I sat and I checked what is the total interest of amount that I have paid on these loans.
it.
So at that time actually that hit me that I paid around 32 to 35% interest on those payments.
Correct. Correct.
So
That's
yeah. So at that time, I decided not to proceed further with credit cards. So I had three, four credit cards at that time, and right now I only have one, and that I also don't use very often.
got it. Got it. So when you realized after a year that, you had uh, a large credit card loan that was pending, that was outstanding,
Mhm.
what was your reaction and how did you now start figuring out how to repay that? And what was the amount that you owed at that stage in total?
So roughly it was around 2.5 lakhs.
Okay.
So I to repay that I took another loan from it was actually personal loan. So I
Okay.
took it at 11-12%, and then
Hmm.
I paid off the credit card bills in one go,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then the rest of the payments I paid for almost a year and like 15 months. So that is how
Got
it
it.
was paid off, and after that I never used credit card limits.
Understood. And how much did you earn, Shubham, at that time when you owed 2.5 lakhs in credit card bills?
In my previous job, it was like 45,000 salary.
Got it. Got it. So
Mhm.
almost, 6 months, 5, 6 months of income, which is a big amount, right? If you think about it.
Right, right,
As a youngster who doesn't have too much savings in case you
right,
had just started working.
right.
Understood. And there are a lot of people, Shubham, who at times get fooled by the credit card marketing companies and credit card agencies. or credit cards in general, where, for example, you said you paid the minimum amount due at the start.
Right.
So for a lot of people who use a credit card for the first time, what they think is the minimum amount due is what they should pay, not the total amount due.
Right.
Which in my opinion is very misleading, right? From in the
Yes.
credit card statement. Because
Definitely.
for any average, person who doesn't have any background with money, they will obviously pay the minimum amount due, right? Because that is what is mentioned. Why would they pay
Right.
something additional?
Right. Right.
Which I think, so I actually feel in all credit card statements, they should really do away with the minimum amount due tab altogether, because that creates a lot of confusion. And even for people who would have otherwise paid the credit card bill, they end up paying the minimum amount due.
Right.
And they
Right.
keep then accruing a lot of interest that they have to pay in
Yes.
the future.
Right.
So for someone in the same position, Shubham, as you were a few years back, what would you advise them to get out of this sort of entire maze of credit card bills, loans, taking a different loan to pay that? What would you advise them? Because you, again, from there, you have now come to a point where you are absolutely mastering several personal finance activities and basics, which is fantastic. So what would you advise them?
So yeah, that is because of mentors like you who are, giving us this information on the internet. So first of all, a big thanks to you. And
I won't take credit, but I'm glad. I'm glad they help. Yeah, what we say.
yeah. So yeah, I think one should not burn their fingers in this credit card scam. I would really call it a scam, because yeah, they should actually send us the full statement, like the amount that needs to be paid. Other than the statement itself, it only shows the minimum amount due. So yeah, that is one thing. And yeah, so everyone should look up to the charges that they are paying on those credit card bills, and watch out to their limits. Even though it also impacts your CIBIL score, right? When you are consuming most of the limit of your credit card.
Correct. And when did you finally clear that personal loan that you had taken to clear the credit card bills?
It was like 3 years back, before my marriage.
3 years back. Got it. Great. The reason I'm asking that is because your current home loan interest rate is 8.5%, which is very low, which means you today have a very good CIBIL score, a very good credit score, right?
Yes, it was near to
you managed
800.
Near to 800. And what was it at that stage?
At that time, I didn't check actually.
Yeah, it must have been scary if you had checked, but you managed to again turn it around, right? Which is possible.
Yes.
Because for a lot of people who are in the same position that you were a few years ago, it can seem like, that's a point of no return. What's even the point of, trying to get out of this? But, you are an example, Shubham, that, you can rectify the errors. So, Shubham, just take a moment actually, and I'm serious when I say this. I shared this with you earlier as well. Take a moment and actually pat yourself on the back, because you are doing a good job from, where you were to now, what you're up to, how you're managing money with your spouse. So, which is something that even people who did not go through that process, right, where they owed money because of something, even they are not in the same position. So that is wonderful. So I think, that will really again inspire a lot of people watching and show them that there is something that they can do, even if they're in a similar position as where you were a few years back. And Shubham, was there any other kind of personal finance error that you learned from over the years?
Yes. So, during the COVID lockdown, so like everyone was sitting at home and was, exploring new things. So at that time, I actually I was acquainted with the stock market, and
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, at that time, initially I wasn't investing in stocks or mutual funds, but yeah, I started it from directly from future and options, because
Okay.
you see people who
Correct.
are posting videos every day. Today I have made 10 lakh of profit, 15 lakhs of
Yeah.
profits. Yeah, so that is kind of, I was following such YouTubers, and yeah, so even though like I had learned so many trading techniques at that time, so I spent like considerable amount of time on learning those strategies. But yeah, again, I did FNO trading for almost 1 year at that time. So yeah, some
Okay.
for some days it was actually the losses were big actually, and yeah, then in a month, if I would say like the ratio would be like 30-70 of losses and 30% of profits. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so if I conclude, I can say that it's not very tempting, and one should not, do this. That is not recommended. Yeah, long-term
And
investing, that is good.
absolutely, absolutely. The SEBI, in fact, just released a paper a few weeks ago where they shared that the total losses that Indian households have incurred in FNO trading is 50,000 crores,
Oh, really?
which is so high, right? If you think about it,
Right, right,
because
right.
all of this is hard earned money that
Hmm.
can be used in more productive ways.
Right.
Uh, and people are actually losing money because of that.
Hmm.
And we're always tempted that, we see or hear about someone making 10 lakhs, as you said, 15 lakhs,
Right, right,
1 crore in a day, in a month. And what tends to happen is we hold that as the target, and,
right.
we think that's easier money to make
Hmm.
instead
Yes,
of,
yes.
working 8-10 hours a day at
Right,
your job. And what tends to happen though is once you start trading, you may have a couple of successful days, which inspires you, which gives you confidence.
right,
But
right.
then, as the days roll, the averages sort of catch up. And Zero that had released a study that 9 out of 10 people who actually trade in FNO,
Making losses.
yeah, they would have been better off investing in an FD over a 3-year period. So they
Right, right,
get
right.
lower than FD
Hmm.
returns.
Yes, that is correct.
So, yeah, yeah. So, and Shubham, what was the highest loss that you incurred while trading FNO at that point?
So I used to trade in Bank Nifty, and the highest loss that I had incurred at that time would be around some 14,000 in a day.
14,000 in a day. Got it. And this
Yes,
is when you were earning 50, 60,000, I'm guessing, per month.
yes,
Uh,
yes, yes, yes. And the
so,
highest profit that I made was around 10,000.
understood.
Mhm.
Understood. Got it.
That too with
Got it.
so much efforts and so much of learning. But yeah, that was not
Hmm.
fruitful at all. Cannot rely on that.
You have transitioned from actually losing money while trading futures and options to now for almost 2 years investing through an SIP. And now your investment is as high as 50,000 rupees in a diversified portfolio, which
Right.
is fantastic. We'll go through, how you can achieve the various goals that you have shared with me. We'll also calculate how much money you need for retirement. Can you tell me the breakdown of where you're investing that 50,000 rupees every month through that SIP?
12,000 it is going in the Tata Digital Mutual Fund that is being
Okay.
invested in the IT sector, and
Hmm.
another 12 that is going in the small cap mid fund, and
Okay.
then 15,000 is going in Parag Parekh. And then
Got it.
apart from that, each month whenever there is the stock market is going down, or whenever
Mhm.
yeah, so at that time also I do some buying.
One thing though, again, I want to highlight is, like you started investing during the COVID crash, right? After
Right.
that, you started getting into markets in different forms and now you're investing through an SIP. It's very essential to know that there have been times in the past, in 2008 or 2000, both those crashes, when the market crashed and it took 2 to 3 years for the market to go back to where it was. Hmm. So as investors, even if the India story is bright and shining, people are bullish on India,
Right.
the stock market is still irrational and it's
Mhm.
unpredictable. It's volatile in the short run.
Right, right.
So all of us should be okay, and I almost expect a certain time. It may happen next month, a year later, 5 years later, nobody knows. But a time when the market starts going down and your portfolio hasn't gone to the same level as it earlier was for at least 3 years. And if you're okay with that, then you've truly mastered investing.
Mhm.
Because that is something that is more likely to happen than not, because it has happened multiple times in the past.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. The COVID crash was very fast. In 10 months, we were back to previous levels.
Yes.
I'll share my screen, Shubham, and take you through, the various goals that you want to achieve, and we'll see how we can get there. You earlier told me, Shubham, you want to invest for 25 more years, right? You want to retire after 25 years. So that is your investing time frame. Is that right?
Mm, not 25, but like close
Okay.
to 30 years at least. I would
30,
like to,
30
yeah,
years.
proceed with that.
Okay. Okay. So let's say we make it 30. So now if you think about it, right, you have a 50,000 SIP that returns 10% annually. So I'll give you different estimates, but that
Hmm.
returns 10% annually. You increase that 50,000 by 10% every year, and now you have almost 42 crores by the time you retire, right? So when you're 58, you have 42 crores. This does not include the various goals that you have from now to then. So we'll include
Right.
those as well. So the 42 crores will go down. But let me give you an idea as to how the returns will get affected if you increase the estimated return, right? So at a 12% return, you now have 58 crores.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And at 14%, you have 83 crores. But I don't even want to project something that is higher than 14% because, anything above that is a bonus. Anything above 12% is a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, we want to, let's say, assume 12. We are at about 58 crores. Having said that, now you have various goals from now to then. Those goals include your retirement, which is the last goal. But at the same time, the goals are you want to go for a vacation every 2 years from now to then. You want to have about 10 lakhs for your own business in about the next 3 to 4 years.
Right.
You want to have another 10 lakhs for a real estate investment in another 3 to 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Plus
Right.
you want to buy a car in the near future, right? Within the next
Yes.
year, you want to buy a car.
Yes.
So how can all those goals be accumulated and satisfied? We'll now see. So
Yes.
you're 28 years old right now. You want to retire after 30 years. So how much money do you think you'd need at the age of 58 to be able to live, say, for the next 30 years without working? How much money do you think you would need at that stage?
At least 50 crore, I think, would be a decent number.
50 crores. All right. Now I'll share the actual number that you need. So here we go, right? If you want 1 lakh rupees in monthly income adjusted for inflation,
Right.
you'd require 23 crores, 23.7 crores. So not 50 crores. You need less than half of that. Now, how do we get there, right? Because, right, so earlier when we were going through the different numbers, a 50,000 SIP would take you to 58 crores.
Okay.
What you need is about 23, 24 crores. So you have excess money, but there are other goals that you want to satisfy up until then, right? The vacations, the retirement, the car,
Right.
your business and other things. So then in that case, if we now enter all these amounts, right? So you needed about 1 lakh for your interior expenses almost immediately. So that is, let's say you needed in the next 6-7 months, that is about 1,05,000 adjusted for a 10% inflation.
Okay.
Then you want to buy a car a year later. You said the car value would be 12 lakhs. I've assumed a down payment of 6 lakhs at that stage. And
Right.
adjusted for inflation, that is 6.65 lakhs. Would you want to make a higher down payment, or is that okay for you? 50%?
That is okay. Yeah, 50% is fine.
That is okay. Yeah. Then within the next 2-3 years, you want 2 big investments, right? You want to make. First is in real estate, and one is your franchisee passive income idea that you want to
Right.
execute.
Yeah.
So 10 lakhs, 3 years later, 2 years later will be about 12.2, 12.3 lakhs worth. So we withdraw that as well. Then you mentioned you want to purchase a two-wheeler worth 2.5 lakhs. So we account for that as well. So you withdraw about 3.2 lakhs or so at that point. Again, adjusted for 10% inflation. And then after that, from the time you're 32, so about 4 years later, I have assumed a vacation worth 5 lakhs.
Okay.
Where the inflation adjusted value is 7.37. Now
Okay.
the way this works, Shubham, is, you are investing this 60,000 rupees. You have about 20 lakh rupees, right now in different assets.
Right.
I have assumed the FD worth 8 lakhs. Even if we don't assume it, let's say we make this 12 lakhs, right? The amount that you have in mutual funds. Then, and you're working for 30 years, correct?
Right.
In that case. So then starting from the age of 32, I have basically assumed a vacation every 2 years worth 5 lakh rupees.
That is too much.
That is too much?
Yeah. I think then if there is an international vacation, then in a span of 5 years, one vacation is enough, I guess.
So what I want to share with you, Shubham, though, is that think about it, right? From the age of 32, you're going for a vacation every second year. Look at this. I'm highlighting that column, right? Of all the withdrawals that you would make.
Okay.
And you're doing this. You're executing this up until the age of, basically till the time you retire.
Okay.
You're withdrawing 5 lakh worth of buying power,
Okay.
which is equal to 4.8 crores in the next 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus, at the same time, you have a lot of expenses coming up in the next 2 to 3 years, right? The car, the real estate investment, the franchisee, the two-wheeler. Despite everything, you have 40 crores by the end of it left.
Okay.
What you needed was about 23.7 crores. Correct?
Right. Right.
One expense that we haven't counted so far is potential education of kids. If you and your spouse want to have kids. So if you want, we can enter those values as well and see how that plays out. So if you want, I can enter that and we can, figure out if that
Yes,
could be
we can
something.
calculate. Yes.
Yeah. So now in that case, let's say, so if you are planning for kids, when should we start anticipating that first or second kid?
Like after the age of 35.
After the age of 35. So let's say we are here, right? So 35. That means if you think about it, and how many children would you want? 1, 2, more than that?
One is sufficient.
One is sufficient. Okay. So if you think about it, a child who's born when you're 35, the first big expense that you would need, apart from, nowadays even schooling is very expensive, but the first massive expense that you would incur is when the child is 18 years old. Correct? When they require money for education.
Right.
Now, what we would do here is if you have a child at 35, they would require money at 50 when you are 53. Correct? The first big amount. So we'll assume a 5 lakh rupee education expense, which adjusted for inflation 10% is 54 lakhs at that stage. So this is first year of education and we'll require 3 more. Correct? So this is second year, this is third year, and this is fourth year.
Right.
Okay. By the time in the fourth year, that 5 lakh will be worth 72 lakhs in terms of purchasing power because of inflation. So we withdraw 72 lakhs essentially at that stage. Now, they could also require money because let's calculate everything and then see again if the retirement number is still intact because we need 23.7 crores to be able to retire. Yeah. Let's see if even higher education is something that can be taken care, right? So let's say we withdraw 20 lakhs for higher education at that stage.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's about 3.2 crores worth by the time, they are 23, 24. Now let's move up and see how much money you have still left. 33 crores. So even after paying for a child's education, you have 33 crores left. What you need is 23 crores. So now let me go back to the retirement sheet and see what will 33 crores give you in terms of monthly income.
Okay.
Because that is also important.
Right.
So you go, right? So let's say we make this 1.5 lakhs. So if you want to get 1.5 lakhs adjusted for inflation for 30 years, you would need 35 crores. So if we can say reduce this to 1.25, that means you need about 29 crores, which is similar to what we need, right? What we would have at that kind of a return. Now, let's say the amount of annual step up goes down to 5%. Then the amount you have at the end is significantly lower. It's 8.6 crores.
Yes.
So you understand the importance of that step up that you have to keep making, right? And the step up essentially means, Shubham, whenever your income rises, you increase your investment amount for that year, for that month.
Right.
You don't let your lifestyle increase. Because what a lot of people do is, when they get a 20% hike, through whatever means, right? A side gig, a promotion or a new job, they would start increasing their lifestyle by 20%. Which means they don't have enough money to invest. Or they won't increase their investment as well. So that is how important it is to, increase your investments because that is literally the way you would be able to save 33 crores. Otherwise, you have 8.3 crores. So if you think about it once again, you have 33 crores that you make through your equity portfolio after all your goals. And you have another 6 to 12 crores depending on the interest rate of EPF in your EPF account.
Okay.
Which will be tax free. So again, if you add the two, you have about 40 to 45 crores at the time you retire.
Okay.
So how does that make you feel, Shubham? Better?
Yeah.
Relieved?
Very relieved, yeah.
That covers the long-term goals that you have, some of the short-term goals as well. One extremely, extremely important point when it comes to, planning for all of this is covering risk. So I mentioned emergency fund earlier. So, there should always be a 7 to 8 months, 6 month ideally, if you can as a minimum, and then try to increase it to 7, 8 months, 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
So that no matter what is happening with your job, because think about it, right? There could be a layoff, for example.
Right, right.
And then if you don't have an emergency fund, you still have bills to pay. And if you don't have something to rely on, you may take up something that is not so good because that
Right.
money has to come in. But if you have an emergency fund and you know that, okay, I am skilled enough, I can get a good job after this as well. Then you can wait for 3 months, you can wait for 6 months, right? Because your partner is, let's say, working. So she is taking care of the main bills. You have your emergency fund that you're relying on to pay the rest of the bills or the other expenses.
Right.
So purely from that perspective, I think having that is important. The two other things I think are essential are a term insurance and a health insurance. So do you have a health insurance right now, Shubham? You and your spouse?
Yes, we have. That is company provided.
Company provided. I would consider that as not having health insurance at all. Because again, that is going to be valid for till the time you're working with this organization.
Right.
So get a private health insurance. So for you and your spouse, you can get a 1 crore health insurance for about 22,000 with your ages.
Okay.
That's less than 2,000 rupees per month. You're getting a 1 crore health insurance.
I
Which if you don't claim from,
I'm also planning for a term insurance. So, what would be the
exactly.
required number for that?
That was the third point, term insurance. So, look, with term insurance now, you have to consider a few factors here. One is, what are the liabilities that you have? So you have now got a 45 lakh rupee loan, correct? You're planning on taking a car loan, which will be again worth about 6 or 8 lakhs. So let's say the liability is 50 lakhs.
Right.
So you want 50 lakhs as a bare minimum, but you want more because you don't want the entire term insurance cover to go in paying the loan, correct? The outstanding amount. So for both you and your wife, I would actually recommend a cover of at least 20 times your annual income of your gross income before tax income. So when your income is 12 lakhs, you should go for a term insurance cover of 2.4 crores, at least 2.5 crores. For your wife as well, she's earning 8 lakhs, at least 1.5 crore to 2 crores for her. The rationale for this is, as you saw, you are able to meet all these goals that you have as long as you're earning money. So if you stop earning money because of an unfortunate event, because of death, then your future income has to be accounted for.
Right.
Because then all your ambitions, goals, let's say you start a family, you would want the education expenses to be taken care of.
Right.
And as you saw, right, you have to make that 50,000 rupee SIP with a 10% step up to be able to meet all those goals. So if someone passes away, you want to ensure that the income they would have earned in the future is already there. And then you invest that money, let's say. Or we can figure out at that stage how that can be handled.
Right.
So I think that is super important for both of you. And you want to know how much the premium would be for a 2.5 crore cover for you?
Yes, definitely. I would like to know that.
How old is your spouse, Shubham?
She's 27.
For your wife, a 2 crore cover till the age of 60 will cost about 15,000 rupees a year. So less than 1,500 rupees per month. And this stays constant. So from now from the time she's 27 till she's 60, she'll keep paying 15,000 rupees, 14,000 rupees. So think about it, right? 20 years later, how much that 15,000 is worth? Nothing in a way. It's going to be essentially free because of inflation. If you also take a cover till the age of 60 and you go for a 2.5 crore cover, then you're going to pay about 21,000 rupees, Shubham.
Okay.
So 1,600 rupees a month, which is a very, very low amount. This is till the age of 60, right? If you go for a cover till the age of 100, the premium is going to shoot to about 52,000, 53,000. And one more factor to consider here is when you're 100 years old. So when this 2.5 crore comes in, what is going to be the value of that 2.5 crore?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, right.
There's also one more reason not to think. In certain cases, it makes sense. But in this situation with your family dynamics, with your life situation, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Anything else, Shubham, that we haven't spoken about that you wanted to ask me that we haven't covered yet?
No, I guess we have almost covered everything. Everything is pretty much clear. Thank you so much for your time, Dhyan. It's really nice, for this episode. Thank you.
I'm glad it helped, and thank you so much for being a part of MoneyWise. Have a lovely evening.